What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. This wasn't a video I was expecting to make today, but here we are. Ilya Mikheyev could be getting traded out of Toronto, and when people seen this, there was a little bit of a miscommunication and a bit of too much of a reaction here in terms of the value that the Toronto Maple Leafs could get. But we're going to talk about this and why this isn't as significant as it seems. And yeah, I mean, hopefully you guys will enjoy this video. If you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. I know there's a ton of you guys, and I'm looking at you. I know there's a ton of you guys that aren't subscribed yet. So please do so. I'd really appreciate that. It does help a lot. And if you want to, talk about Leafs rumors, news, and be a part of live streams and podcasts and stuff like that, I've got so much coming, and I've been doing a really good job, I think, with this stuff over the years. So make sure to like and subscribe. But I want to get right into this because basically, the big news so far in Leafs land today has been that the Leafs have informed teams that they're open to trading the rights to pending UFA Ilya Mikheyev. Now, he's coming off a career-best season, as we know, where he recorded 21 goals and 32 points and had 2 goals and 4 points in 7 playoff games. But as you guys know, 2 points or two goals resulting in empty netters in his playoff career, I believe, in Toronto. So we'll be looking at his playoff numbers in a little bit here, but he's not exactly a playoff performer, unfortunately, and that's something that you have to keep in mind. But when people looked at this tweet saying that the Leafs have informed teams they're open to trading the rights to Ilya Mikheyev, it got a little nuts because some people don't understand he's a UFA, and while he is a good hockey player, the most the Leafs could get out of something like this is a late-round draft pick, in my opinion. Trading away UFA rights, I almost said UFC, not UFC, UFA rights. When you trade away these UFA rights, teams don't have to really give up much because all you're doing is getting yourself an opportunity to talk to Mikheyev earlier, trade for him, get him on your team, and hope that he wants to sign there long term, because you could trade for Mikheyev and then he could just hit the open market. He's not a restricted free agent like we've just seen with Kevin Fiala. So it's not like the Leafs have control over Mikheyev. They have control over him until free agency. But if he says, I'm going to free agency, he's going to free agency. And the money that he wants is likely going to be too much for the Toronto Maple Leafs to afford. But again, take it with a grain of salt, but there's a very slim chance that the Leafs get anything of good value from a Mikheyev trade because he is an unrestricted free agent. Now, there's some talk about their contract situation. We've talked about that a little bit before. But what Chris Johnston keeps talking about of TSN, of course, says that, there haven't been very many talks between the Mikheyev and Campbell camp. And Mikheyev's looking to get $4 to $5 million on the open market. And Campbell is going to try to get, beyond that. And Mikheyev's coming off a team-friendly deal, so is Campbell. But we need to come back down to earth a little bit here. And I know there's some people that are going to disagree with this, but Mikheyev is a replaceable player, especially what he's done in the playoffs. And we'll look at his numbers in a second. But Mikheyev, while he is fast and brings you a heavy presence, he's very replaceable. And if the Leafs are looking for a top 6 addition with size and a little bit of grit, you're not going to miss Mikheyev if you just, are putting somebody better in the top 6 and getting a replacement for Mikheyev on that third line that can be a speedy scoring type of winger from the Marlies, or just getting a cheap option that you can and try to fill the bottom 6 with as much talent as possible. But Mikheyev is replaceable, and especially when he's looking to get $4 to $5 million, because he hasn't really proven to be that type of player on a consistent basis. Now, he's 27 years old, so you have to take that into account. His contracts have been relatively cheap, and his career high in points is 32. His career playoff numbers, 19 games, 4 points, and 2 of those, I believe, were both empty net goals, his 2 goals. So it's not like he's overproducing in the playoffs and everything looks fantastic for him. And by the way, all of those points came in this year's playoffs. Now, sure, this could be a breakout year, whatever, and maybe he continues to have success. But the biggest thing about Mikheyev that everybody was talking about was in the previous years was that he wasn't consistent, he wasn't good enough, and he didn't use his speed to his advantage. This year he did, but I'm not willing to give a guy with a career high of 32 points $4 to $5 million. And I know a lot of people criticize the Leafs for the William Nylander contract. Sure, they're different players in different draft choices, obviously Mikheyev being a guy that just signed from Russia. But if you're willing to give a guy like Mikheyev $5 million, how are you upset about the Leafs having Nylander at the number he's at? Nylander's an 80-point player giving you great production at under $7 million. But you're willing to give $5 million to a guy that has a career high of 32 points. I don't think that makes a ton of sense. And again, I hope Mikheyev would stay on a cheaper deal, but it's not going to happen. It looks like he's on his way out. And briefly, we're going to make another video on Campbell, but Jack Campbell's looking for Jacob Markstrom money. And Markstrom's a far more proven, better goaltender than him. And if he wants $6+ million, he's going to have to go somewhere else because it's an absolutely ridiculous number. And again, guys, the Toronto tax, the Ontario tax comes into play here. Players are obviously looking for more money because they get a fraction of what they're actually being paid. I know it's still a lot of money, but again, coming from their point of view, they know if they hit the open market and go to a place where the tax isn't as bad, much like what Tampa's been able to do, they're going to get more money. There's more money coming to their bank account. They're able to get more of that cash than they are in Toronto. Now, a lot of people are going to freak out when I say this, but the Toronto Maple Leafs have two guys in Nick Robertson and Pontus Holmberg that are going to be guys that the Leafs are looking for as cheap options for that bottom six and ultimately offensive replacements. And hear me, offensive replacements for Ilya Mikheyev. They want speedy young guys on cheap deals to be playing in that bottom six with gritty guys in that bottom six so that way there's a healthy balance. I'm not saying that these guys are Ilya Mikheyev replacements guaranteed. I think the Leafs are looking to make that improvement in the top six. So I think guys like Robertson, who is a guy that needs to prove himself this year, had a really good year with the Marlies, a point per game with the Marlies, and has shown nice little flashes in the NHL that he can do something. I know it's only been a handful of games basically, but he's shown that speed. He's shown that he has that wicked shot. I think the Leafs will be giving him a great opportunity this year to make the bottom of the lineup. Pontus Holmberg, this guy is a prospect at 23 years of age, and he's a guy that was picked very late, I think the 6th round or something like that. The 6th round, and he's proven to be a really good scorer in the SHL. He had 41 points in 46 games played, and by all accounts, everybody in the organization has been talking about this guy and has been very impressed. These are two guys that are cheaper guys that if they can fill out the bottom six of your roster, gives you more money to go after a guy in the top six that can produce the same numbers that Mikheyev does or better and has a little bit more physicality and still plays that speedy, type of game that he plays. So that's where I'm saying the replacement doesn't have to be a Robertson or a Holmberg for Mikheyev specifically, but they need to be good bottom six players in order to allow the Leafs to spend more money on a guy that can replace Mikheyev, who does more than Mikheyev, is more physical than Mikheyev, this, that, and the other. I think it's going to end up working out for the Maple Leafs because this is just too much. This is too much money for a guy like Mikheyev. I'd rather them spend that money, overpay a little bit for a guy that can do what Mikheyev does, but also gives you that physical edge because Mikheyev hasn't proven to be that physical of a player. He's shown small flashes of it, but it's just not there. And if you want bottom six guys that can score, you're going to have to try to get these young guys on cheap deals to work out in that bottom six. So hopefully we can get Holmberg and Robertson in there to allow the Leafs to go out there and get a Mikheyev replacement that is better. So if you guys are new here, and by the way, I'm not saying that they're going to get somebody better for less money. I'm saying they're probably going to have to spend a little bit more, but they're going to get more. You're going to pay for what you get with a player like that. And I'm also saying it could be done via trade. So maybe it will be around that same $4 to $5 million range. So, okay, now that I've explained that, if you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Join the squad. Love and appreciate you guys as always. Ilya Mikheyev, is he on the way out? Let me know down below, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.